Wow, John, how are you today?
Good afternoon. Nice to see you, sir. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Isn't it though? And
Yeah.
since our last video summary, which we just started, garnered a ton of attention. Clearly, people want to hear what's going on at 94 Forward, which arguably is the sports center of the region. And we got a lot of requests for, hey, tell us what's going on and tell us what's going on, what's going to happen. And that's what we're going to do here again today. So John, let's just dive right into it, okay? What has happened since our last video of about 3 weeks ago?
Well, so let me just build off your comments, which is the legacy is totally unique in Canada. So there's no other entity like this. That puts me in a personally a really fortunate position. But I like to say that the legacy is as unique as Victoria is. So if you have an interest in Victoria, if you're from Victoria, if you've been to Victoria and you know what it's like here, you understand that we can do things here that are very difficult to do elsewhere in Canada because of climate, number one, because of facilities, and because of those two things and decades of great work, we now have this third pillar, which is what we like to call human capital. So we have tons of past Olympians here. We've got lots of great coaches, lots of great programs that used to be here, people left over from them, new programs that are being built. So it's on top of those foundations that we do our work. And so where are we today is we're in day three of one of our camp series in the sport of triathlon. So we have 30 athletes here from across Western Canada that would range in age from about 16 to 19, 20. And these are all development level on their way up athletes that are now interfacing with athletes that live and train in Victoria that are probably of that next caliber. Martin Sobey, for example, 20th in the world, is here training with the development level athletes. Sophia Howell from Alberta, who lives here full time, just finished 21st in the world in the senior women's elite, which is, and she's still under 23. Massive results. She's here in the pool every day with these young athletes we've got in town. So we've got all that happening, and the weather's beautiful. The athletes are staying at UVic, so that's the accommodation component. And then we have daily managers. Holly Henry, up and coming cycling coach, is acting as one of our camp managers, along with Eric Vanderpool, who's got a deep background in sailing and the elite side of that sport. He's one of our on the ground managers. So the athletes are surrounded by those kinds of people who have know sport, know what to listen for, responding to their needs if they have any, and then otherwise, we're providing accommodation, food, etc. during the week so that they can do all the training that's going on.
Yeah, a couple of things. Fantastic, by the way. And of course, any of us who've been around the block for a while, that is me for sure, recalls what a great, strong tradition in triathlete, a triathlon activity in this region at the Olympic level, and how very proud we were of athletes in the past, and how to hear that we're now focusing among many sports with some of the 94 Forward legacy. And the second thing is that I don't think folks get what an economic development engine you are. I mean, there's money flowing into the economy for food, for transportation, for accommodation. Uh, Okay? So not only are you positioning our athletes to be great people, to be great leaders, to be great athletes for Canada, you are also an economic development powerhouse. That's fantastic, John.
Yeah. Well, they all have to stay somewhere. They do have to eat. Yeah, that's right. So we're big customers at the Refire Kitchen, which do a great job, and the local restaurants. We would only shop local and take the athletes to locally owned businesses, and that creates that great community feel. And so yes, we're definitely this has been one of our big shifts in the last 3 years. Is every dollar is spent within 15 miles of the Commonwealth Pool, give or take. And so, yeah, we're driving a nice little economy piece, and of course, bringing people here. They're adding to the spending footprint. We have three really special guests arriving in next week. Martin Van Riel is world champion in what's called the T100, which is triathlon, but just longer. So it's not
Oh,
Ironman and it's not the Olympic distance. It's in between. But
oh yeah. Uh-huh.
so he's racing in San Francisco, and then 2 weeks later he's in Vancouver. So he's going to spend those 2 weeks in between here with us in Victoria. He's bringing with him his training partner, and he's also bringing his coach. And so we're going to do 10 things with them in town here while they're here, and that's coming up also. So
Extraordinary.
we're pretty excited by that. But I got to tell you about one other thing we've done this week, because people will like it. Is we have a character here named Ihor Verys, and you can look this guy up. He is unbelievable, and we brought him in because we love his story. We love him as a character, and we want him to just be in and around the athletes because he's got such a story. He's originally from the Ukraine, moves to Manitoba, makes his way out here, and now calls Chilliwack home. He won something called the Barkley's Marathon, which takes place in the United States in Tennessee. And I think the frame is you run 5 consecutive marathons in 60 hours through an unmarked course that goes up and down massively in elevation. And he is, at the time, he won in 2023. At the time, he's one of 20 people in the history since the 80s to ever finish it, and he won in 2023. So an amazing ultra distance athlete. And he's here hanging out with the up and coming young athletes and talking to them about what commitment and resiliency and dedication and all of that really looks like.
Get out
So
of here.
these are amazing voices to have around the next generation of Canadians that we're working with.
Yes, absolutely. And such extraordinary stories. There are two parts to this, and I emphasize this all the time, is that there's obviously the sport part and the wellness part and the economics part. Let's call that a bucket. But there is the person is developing great people part and developing great community people and fathers and mothers for the future and family members. They're all going to learn from these extraordinary sporting events how to be extraordinary people. And in these tumultuous political times, we're becoming one of the world leaders in demonstrating that we have great people in our country.
Yes.
And it is in so many parts because of this such a strong sport ethos, that 94 Forward is a major part of. Okay, there's my political
No,
bent.
no, no, no. This is very important because you could ask yourself, what is the value of sport? What is its impact? Why does it matter? Why should we put any money into it, et cetera? And sport is like the arts. Sport is a medium for self-discovery, amongst other things. And when you're there facing that hill, and it's hard and it hurts, you're figuring out when you're 12 and 14 and 16 and 32 and 42, which is, how old we are. You're figuring out who you are and you're learning all those critical life lessons. And sport is that marvelous teacher. The desired output here is is uh, is something like better Canadians. That's really the goal. If they go on and do well in sport, good for them. If they make it to, some, national team level or on TV or whatever, fantastic for them. Way to go. There's life after sport, and it's called work for almost everybody. And we need these young people. They're growing up. Imagine growing up, how they're growing up with this instant button clicking, which is just awful. The social media is horrific. And so sport is there to teach you about things that are real and that sort of blood, sweat, and tears stuff. And so we have 30 of them out there right now, who are going and learning who they are, how to get along, how to get through, how to get back up, all that stuff. So
That's
yeah,
wonderful that 94 Forward is a frankly, a global leader in this area. I know there are other sports and I know there's other activities. So you want to review some of those that have been either going on or are coming up?
Well, we're gonna do a big project with swimming coming up in the next 10 days, coach development, and the Canadian swimming trials are going to be on. So some of those huge names that you would see on TV are coming to swim here in Victoria. We're going to do some coach development work that's connected to that, and then we'll be right on the eve of kicking off our work in skateboarding. So that's going to be a program that'll go all summer. Tons of great stuff for athletes from across the country and also for all the local people here. So we're looking forward to that. And we're working on something special on the boxing side, and we don't have it confirmed yet. So bear with me, but we hope to have that going. I would take a minute and mention two things as I think we're kind of wrapping up. One, we're really pleased to have Gerald Hartwig, local businessman, join our board of directors under the direction of our chair, Kelly Mann. So it's great to have Gerald come in, and he just stepped onto the board. And I would also mention that this Saturday at 3 o'clock at Windsor Park, celebration of life for a great sporting character and contributor, Brent Johnson from the rugby community, which is where I come from, a longtime servant of the Castaway Wanderers Rugby Club and many, many other programs through to he helped us prepare for the 2003 Rugby World Cup, and he passed away recently, and he just simply is going to be irreplaceable. So people are gonna gather on Saturday and tip their hats, and that's sport, right? Built on the backs of great volunteers through communities like Victoria, all across the country, and we're back to the meaning of sport and the contributions that people make. So I take a minute to recognize both Gerald, who's coming in to add to his volunteer list, and Brent Johnson, who unfortunately rugby and Victoria and the Castaway Wanderers in particular have lost recently.
I've known Gerald for a long time. Amazing person. It'll be a great addition to your board, a great addition to everything that you guys do. I didn't know Brent, but I know that rugby has got a very, very strong community, very strong in Victoria, probably the strongest in Canada. And so I'm sure there'll be a lot of people there celebrating this person's legacy. Thank you, John.
Absolutely.
And in a
Yeah.
couple weeks, let's try and do this again because there's way too much exciting stuff happening at 94 Forward.